tell you the stocks WatchList in a second. In just a second. But first, I gotta get ready to eat this fucking pizza. Damn socks. That's too hot for these motherfuckers, man. It's way too hot for these motherfuckers. What up, man? What up? What up? Alright, so let's look at this watch list, man. See if he's got it up. Talking about Timothy Sykes, he's got a watch list every day. So let's see what he's got for watch list. It's good, man. What's up? Alright, so let's look at this watch list he's got. What's up, man? What's up, man? About to throw down on these motherfucking wings. That's what's up. Motherfucker's pretty damn good. Papa John got some good wings, man. Chipotle honey. Yeah. Little girl, she wants some. Oh, nice. Alright, so what is the watch list for tomorrow? The watch list tomorrow. What I think about reefer driving compared to the oil field, I think you waste your fucking time. I say fuck reefer, fuck driving here. It was terrible. Why you think motherfuckers are protesting? You don't see motherfuckers out here in the oil field protesting because their rates ain't any good. Motherfucker protesting because those rates on the reefer. That driver ran a fucking robbery. Ain't nobody trying to run that shit, man. That's why the motherfuckers are protesting. Motherfuckers stopping traffic in California. Talking about raise the rate. Yeah. My advice is you do your research, man. And you'll pull it up. Pull it up on YouTube. Motherfuckers protesting, man. They protesting on them fucking rates, man. Motherfucking oil field, they ain't protesting. Motherfuckers in the oil field, they're not protesting. Yeah, propose it in the long shot, man. Yeah, so I would say just do your research, man. Don't take my word for it. But with my experience, fuck driving, fuck reefer. You ain't gonna make no money with the motherfuckers, especially at a big company. Maybe you might be okay with somebody has their own truck, you know, and you're rolling with them, they might pay you good, but as far as working for a big company hauling for their shit, man, fuck no. Unless you have your own truck with that big company, then yeah, but if you, no. No. Hell no. I'll never haul for no goddamn reefer. I'll never haul no reefer. Or drive, man. Never. Not as long as the oil fields be kicking. And they ain't going nowhere. Alright, so look at this watch list. So the watch list for tomorrow is, let's see what we got. Fucking in and taking it forever. What's up, man? I know, I'm about to tell you in a minute. As soon as I get done eating these wings. That service is a little slow, so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I got the job, man. I did a run yesterday. If I would have kept running, I probably would have made $1,000, man. That's only if the well was, because it's the pre-fill. I don't know how many more loads they were gonna need last night, but if they were gonna keep running, I was gonna keep running, and I was already at $300. I could have made $1,000 today. I could have made $1,000 today. Yeah, just gotta do paperwork this week. Gotta do some paperwork this week. And once I get that paperwork, I'll be good. Yeah, once we get that paperwork, I'll be good. Yeah. Look at this one. Look at this one. This one eating up the fucking breadstick bacon. She's fucking that shit up. She got some Italian in her. She likes some pizza. She likes some pizza. Yeah, you like Domino's? They're all the same to me, but yeah. Alright, so this watch list is not loading right. Hold on. This watch is not fucking loading. What's going on? Look at this one. She just be helping herself. Look at her. She'll just take her own. I want some pizza here. You need to get off the pillow though. Let me see. Alright, she just be. There she go. Taking her shit. Alright, yeah, so no watch list up today. Not yet. Watch list is not up yet. The watch list is not up yet. But when it does come up, I'll post it. Oh, I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it is. But in the meantime. In the meantime, yeah, I'll just hang out with you guys for a little bit.
Short side. And then I want to
answer some questions and shit.
Interesting stock IZEA. Oh shoot, I forgot to highlight most of it. My bad. Junty, you distracted me with your MTBC gains. Jesus, I said this, and in the class today when I was teaching the students, and I was like, Jesus! And everyone's like, what? Why is he taking Jesus' name? What is he saying? And I was referring to Jesus, or Jesus, who made 2600 on MTBC, which is awesome. Jeffrey,
who's gonna go watch Star Wars, man? Friday.
Derek,
who's watching Star Wars Friday?
I mean, that's a scary hold. So he's studying, but I like the video that Derek made. Watch this video.
New highs, man.
Are coming, the games
Motherfucker.
are coming. He's loving life, and so I had to sing along. How much did he make?
Yeah, new highs, man, is what you want to buy. You don't want to fuck with me. You can do lows too. It just depends, man.
So that's good. Travis banked in
But new highs for sure. New lows too, man.
Good job, Travis.
Just gotta look at the chart, man.
Danny.
Gotta see the chart.
253 out at 494.
You know?
First 1,000 plus trade, and his first $1,000 plus trade is a $2,400 profit. This is freaking badass. Nearly doubling your money. And I want you guys to show this video to anybody in your family or friends who say, oh, penny stocks are a scam, Tim Sykes is a scam. These are the same fucking patterns that I've been trading for 2 decades, and the same patterns that I've been now teaching for a decade. So it's going to keep happening. The only question is, are you prepared? Here's Juan. He banked off
Look at this.
CATV.
That's her third piece already. Look at this girl.
Made 1,000.
Her third fucking piece.
Alexa made 68% on MTBC.
This third girl is eating 3 goddamn little
RTNB was another one
she's a
that
little
actually
pig.
got halted because they're so sketchy. And
She's a
even
little
after the
pig.
halt, when it drops, 60%, it opens around
Means you're a little
60 cents.
pig, man.
It triples. Look at
That's
this
all right,
thing.
though.
This
I'm a
is
pig, too.
ridiculous. It tripled. This is one of the worst fundamentally flawed companies in the world. They get halted by the regulators, and right when it opens, even though it's opening down, guess what? In a few minutes, it goes from 60 cents to $1.74. It triples. What time did it open? 9:58 a.m. By 10:23, so roughly 25 minutes. You triple your money.
Going
And
to wings.
that's scary. I mean, that's quick and scary. Look at this. You buy the dip here at 98 cents, and it goes to $1.60. Okay? This is at 12 p.m. This is at 2:30. So in 2 hours, it goes from 96 cents to $1.60. It's roughly, 60% in 2 hours. And this is a very similar chart to STRM, where you had the big spike on STRM, followed by the downtrend, followed by the dip, and the bounce. Let's just compare. Wait, I can do a second symbol.
Hold on. We're gonna do our own watch.
Exact same kind of spike as RT.
Even though we want to look and see what Timothy Sykes is looking at, we're gonna make our own watch list in a second. So let me pull this shit up. Let me clean my hands. Let me dump this shit real quick. And I'll see what we're looking at today. Tomorrow. Oh man. She's fucking that pizza up, boy. She fucking that shit up. Go, girl. You gotta fire up the stocks to trade. Those thin optics should be coming in tomorrow. You don't know what thin optics are? Look it up. Pull it up. Thin optics, you can, if you're old like me, right? And you got to read these little ass words, especially on stocks to trade. You can't really zoom in. You can't zoom in on the numbers, man. You know what I mean? you can enlarge them, but it's, you know, as big as it gets, that's as big as it gets. And they're still small, man, so I can barely see what the fuck it is. But anyway, so I got these reading glasses, right, called thin optics. You can put them on the back of your phone. It's a little case that sticks on the back of your phone. So anytime you need your reading glasses, you just pull that bitch out, put them on, and then put them right back on. So you always got them on your phone. So you always have your phone. So that means you always have your reading glasses. So my eyes are good. My eyes are 20/20. But when you look at these small ass little letters and these little numbers, you can't. You know what I mean? Motherfucker ain't trying to strain to be looking at that shit. So I got some reading glasses. So yeah, thin optics is what you want if you need reading. If it's hard for you to like read shit, like especially on your phone. Your phone is not that bad because on my phone I can magnify the shit up as big as I want it. But with the computer, on this stocks of trade, like I said, I can't zoom in on the fucking numbers, so it's strainful when you're looking at them, you know, 12 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours a day. I'm like, fuck that. I gotta get some fucking reading glasses, man. Anyways, I think they're supposed to be here tomorrow. I'll do a review on them. The review that I seen on YouTube was pretty good. You know, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of reviews on them. And they like it. Everybody else likes it. I got the strongest lens. It's like 2.75 lens. That's what I got. Fuck. I don't know if I'm gonna need it, but I should say the bigger. I mean, the more magnification, the better. Damn. Motherfucker. Oh. You good? You ate all that little pizza now? What's today? Yeah, they coming tomorrow, man. 6 racks. Yeah, they coming tomorrow. They should have been here fucking Friday, but they weren't. Good, I've been good. About to do these. About to do our own watch list because Timothy Sykes ain't put his watch list out, so I got stocks of trade fired up. About to look and see what's going on. Alright, so let's look at this news screener. What is this? Top screen. Top percent gainers. What else we gonna look at? So we got the news up. We got top percent gainers. Oh no, we don't even have that on. Top percent gainers. That's not even fucking up yet. Alright, now we got it up. Oh damn. So it doesn't even show me the top percent gain, so I gotta go on the phone. We gotta look. So if you're making your own watch list up, right, you try to figure out what stocks to trade the next day, all you gotta do is you can go to Yahoo Finance. You ain't even gotta have all the shit that I have. You could just go to Yahoo Finance, right? That's what I'm doing, right? Yahoo Finance, right here. Go to Yahoo Finance, and if you're on the app, just hit market, and it'll show market movers, right? Market movers. And I would just go top percent gainer, right? And just see, and start typing in those stocks, man. Like PXS, right? Let's look at that one. Let's look at this one. PXS. Look at the chart. Actually, yeah, we'll look at the chart. Alright, so this chart looks pretty good. Let's see. PXS, it went from what? From pre-market Friday morning, it went from 394 all the way up to fucking 6. So that's 3 times your money. It's a lot more than 3 times your money. It was up probably maybe 100%. Anyway, so it went from 390 all the way up to fucking 647. Now it's at it's kind of like mid-range. So it can go either way. Let's see what it was. Had good news. Had a report of foreign issue ruler. I don't even know what that is. But let's check it out real quick. It's filing with the SEC. So as soon as it filed, it fucking spiked up and went from 3 to 6. So that's good. You know, the question is, can it run this week? Can it keep running? The SEC filing, I don't know what it is. Let me look. Let me pull it up. It's a 6K. It's a 6K form that they filed with the SEC. It's from Greece. It's a company in Greece, and I think it's a shipping stock because they say Tankers Incorporated. Maybe some shipping, a shipping fleet or something like that. I don't know. I have to look at it, but it's irrelevant. Don't matter. I don't give a fuck about the company. I'm just looking at the chart. Give a fuck what the chart says. I mean, I don't give a shit about what the company is, but it showed that it can move. So that's a good thing. If a stock can show you that can move and go 100% in a day, that's the kind of stock you want to be fucking with. And the stock's at $5 and some change. Yeah, I started saying that last night, man. I did sandbox last night. It was good. I made like $300. If I would have kept running, I probably would have made like $1,000. But they couldn't give me any lows because I need to sign paperwork, and it's the weekend, so nobody's there to do the paperwork, so I couldn't do any paperwork. But I'll do paperwork maybe tomorrow or sometime this week. Lee says invest in index and call it a day. How about you invest in index and you call it a day? Don't worry about what I'm doing, man. And don't try to tell me what I should be doing. Unless you got 6 figures in your account, you got 6, 7 figures in your account, then I'll listen to you. But if you ain't got 6, 7 figures in your account, don't try to give me advice, man. Yeah, I took all those videos down, man. I took all those videos down. Yeah, I just took all those videos down, man. Yeah. I'll do the live feed. I'll tell y'all what's up, but I'm not gonna keep that shit on there. But yeah, cause you know what I mean. Like I'm in the process of, trying to make shit happen. So I might say some shit, you know what I mean, that might offend the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And that motherfucker go back and tell that motherfucker. So I'm just like, nah, I ain't gonna do it like that. Especially if I'm trying to get in the game, you know what I mean? And you know what I'm saying? But cause like I told you last night, that motherfucker, the guy that owned the truck, he like to talk, man. He talk too motherfucking much. So I don't want him to go back, or somebody go back and be like, hey man, that guy was talking shit about you. Well, I'll tell him straight up. I'll tell him straight up he talked too much. But you know what I mean? I'm just a man like that. I'll tell you straight up to your face you talk too motherfucking much. You know what I mean? But it's a YouTube channel, it's a video, so I don't need the drama. You know what I mean? Especially if I'm trying to make that money. Especially if the money's that fucking good. You get what I'm saying? If the money's that motherfucking good, we don't need to have no issues. They don't need to fly under the radar. And then once I get the fuck out of what I'm doing, then we can go ahead and say I can say whatever I want to say, like I did with performance, and the way I did with everybody else that I was rolling with. You get what I'm saying? So that's just to protect me and the money I could be making. That's all. So yeah, I'll say what I gotta say on these live feeds, but if it has anything to do with the motherfucker that I'm running with, or any of the shit that I'm running with, like the fact sites or anything, I'll go ahead and live stream it, but I'll take that shit right off. And I didn't even take it off. They're still on there. They just marked as private. So as soon as I jump ship and I'm no longer with them anymore, I'll publicize that shit again. But yeah, we'll live stream it. I'll say what the fuck I gotta say. I'll tell y'all what's going on, but this shit won't be public. You know what I mean? It won't be public. But yeah, that motherfucker talked too much, man. That motherfucker, I couldn't run. I could have kept running. I could have kept running last night, but he was in the truck with me. I had to pick him back up because we had to use his app off the phone to get the loads. Man, I wasn't gonna sit in that fucking truck with that motherfucker running his mouth all goddamn morning. Hell no. I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah, I heard about Vanguard. Vanguard's good, man. You gotta have $25,000 invest in them, so they're good. But you are not gonna get rich. You ain't gonna get rich, and you get rich in the long term maybe. But motherfucker, I don't want to make 20% in a year. I want to make 20% in a day. And that's what these guys like what the subject said. Strong Guard or Vanguard, you're only gonna make maybe 15, 10%, 20% in a year. motherfucker, I can make 20, I can lose 20, 30%, 50% in a day. Or I can win. I can make 20, 30, 40, 50% in a day. Or 100%. Look, you got to invest in yourself, man. If you try to give somebody else money, they ain't gonna help you get rich, motherfucker. Unless you already rich. If you already rich, then yeah, they'll help you get even more richer. But if you ain't rich, motherfucker, you might make 20% if you lucky in a year. What the fuck is that? On your money, and you got no money, like me. You know what I'm saying? What's 20% on a good day? If you have $100,000 to invest, what's 20% on $100,000? That ain't shit. 20% on a year, so 100,000. And that's highballing that shit. You must be doing. They must be doing something really good, but they're not gonna give you no 20% for the year. 20 times 20%, motherfucker. That's 20 grand off $100,000. But you ain't gonna make no 20%. I'll tell you that right now. Not with no stronghold. Not with any motherfucker that's gonna help you invest your money. You might make 10, 15%, 17% on your money. 20% is a fucking, that's them really working your fucking portfolio, but you ain't making no 20%. So the only way you're gonna get rich is just the same philosophy that you hear from everybody else. You gotta make, the only way you're gonna get rich, you ain't gonna get rich by working for somebody else. You know what I mean? The only way you're gonna get rich is you work for yourself, man. That's whether you're fucking with stocks, that's whether you're fucking doing trucking, that's whether you're doing anything that has to do business with just you doing your own business. You ain't gonna fucking around and get rich with anybody else, man. You gotta make your own money, man. None of these motherfuckers ain't gonna get you rich. They might help you make some money, so you can go ahead and try to flip that shit, try to flip it somewhere else. But nobody's gonna give you nobody's gonna give you a pass, man. Nobody's gonna make you seven, six figures. You know what I'm saying? Unless you fucking around with, I don't know, like if you go to Hollywood somewhere, and even then you ain't gonna make no motherfucking 6, 7 figures. It takes years, man. It takes years. Like Rock or shit, he ain't stopped making 6, 7 figures. Motherfucker was working at the WWE, back in the day, making maybe 6 figures or less than 6 figures. He had to work his way up, man. And now he's a fucking full-fledged superstar. But he wasn't a superstar overnight. Took him time, man. Took him time. All right, enough talking about this bullshit. Let's get down to business. All right, PXS. That's Paul X-Ray Sam. It's mid-range, so I don't want to fuck with that. Next stock. What's next? Next stock would be SIGM. SIGM. Who is watching Star Wars Friday? Who's watching the new movie Star Wars? I know I am. No, I probably not, because I'm going to be working. I probably won't be working. Let's see. Alright. Oh, here we go. It's a little pricey for me. But that thing got a whole lot of fucking press releases, man. Jesus. SIGM. This motherfucker's got, holy shit, press release after press release. We got first press release, or the last press release they did was investigating. It says Bragger, Elgar, and Squire PC is investigating the board of directors of SIGM Designs on behalf of stockholders and encourages investors to contact the firm. It sounds like drama. Let's see. It says former. It says, oh, check this out. It says SIGMA Designs Incorporated shareholders alert. Former SEC attorney Willie blah 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 believes the acquisition by Silicon Labs may be unfair to shareholders. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like drama. They got all these press releases. They got like 6 or 7 press releases all in one day talking some drama. And the stock didn't even move. It went up. It's up 23%. Stock is up 23% on the drama news. There's a lot of fucking press releases, man. And they said the SEC, they did an SEC filing on the 8th at 3 a.m. Says a report of unscheduled material events and corporate changes. This is additional proxy solicited materials. You ask me what all this shit means. It don't mean nothing to me. All it means is that the stock had got some news, and I'm watching to see what the stock is doing. And whatever news I'm telling you, all this shit don't mean nothing to me. But it's moving. The stock moved 23%. You know, on all this news. So that's a good thing. Doesn't matter if it's fucking drama. Doesn't matter if it's good news. Doesn't matter if it's bad news. The stock is fucking running. It's up 23%. That's a lot. See, I'll show you. Look. You see all these little green flags right here? Check it out. See all these green flags? Pull this up. See all those green things right there? See all that? Those are all press releases all in one day. That's a lot. And as you can see on the bigger chart, see where it was back. See where the bottom was. Oh, see where the bottom is right here, and then it's all the way up here. So it went from $5 to $6. Oh, it went all the way up to a high of $7. You know, so that's a good thing. But look all those fucking press releases. Look all this news it's had in one day. You know, it's a lot. It's like 8 fucking things in news. Usually you don't see stocks like that. Usually you don't see stocks run like that. I mean, you don't see a lot of press releases like that. You see like a couple here and there, but not like that. That's a lot. And not all of it. A lot of it's drama. It's not like it's bad news. Alright, so yeah, we'll watch this one too. I kind of want to focus on like the stocks that are below $1, just for now, anyways. We'll keep this one on the bookmark. What's the next one? The next one would be Charlie, Keto, Paul, Tango, CKPT. Checkpoint Therapeutics in INC. It's at $5.59. So let's check that one out. CKPT. CKPT. I don't like the chart, but it's mid-range, so let's just go to another stock. It's up 21% still, but it went from 4 to I don't really give a fuck about that one. Like I said, I'm not really focusing on these stocks that are above $1, but for video's sake, we're just running the stocks. All right, the next one is Gary, Alpha, Larry, Tango, GALT. Let's pull that one up. GALT. Oh, this one's closed on. It's closed around its highs. It's up 20%. It's at $2.43. Yeah, maybe this could break out. Let's look at the big chart. Last few years. Let's see. Yeah, it's got volume. It's got it traded 6 million shares in one day, so it got some volume. And it bounced from a bottom of 149. So $1 a share by almost right now. Not really something I'm crazy about, but this thing's 120. Yeah. It looked like if it breaks out a 3, oh, right, if it can break out $3, you got some resistance at 350 or 370 or 350, 345. So it's got some ways to go, but I don't know. Maybe a few cents a share, 30 cents a share. If it breaks out of its intraday chart of 274, if it can break out 274, the next resistance would probably be 312. So I don't see it, man. It's too much risk. Like the bottom of it would probably be like $1.78. Fuck that. I'm good, man. I don't know. Anyways, so now I'm good. Next one. We got one more left. It's Frankie, Sam, Charlie, Tango, FSCT. FSCT. I feel like a fat boy. I can't even fucking sit up. Oh wow, look at this one. This one's up 20%. It's got a nice breakout. It closed right around its highs, but it's pricey. It's $27. It's $27.60. But let's check it out. Let's check it out anyways. The top of this thing is 29 bucks. So if this motherfucker breaks out of if it breaks out of 28 of the former intraday highs, like it tapped out at on December 7th, it tapped out at 28 bucks, or around 28 bucks, right? And then the 10th, it tapped out at 28 bucks. So $28 is resistance, right? So if it can break 28, it can go to 29.55, and it's a cup and handle. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'll show you. Look, you're not looking already. See that? That's a cup and handle right there. That's the former high. This motherfucker went all the way down. Now it's coming all the way back up. Usually when a stock does that, it'll either double top or break out and keep going. And in this chart, I don't see. Let's pull up 20 years. 20 years. This is a 20-year chart. Now let's go back, see what the former high is. That's the fucking right here, 28 bucks. This is it. This is it. This is a new stock. So this stock just IPO'd just a few months ago. So this stock is not old at all. So it opened when it first IPO'd at 27 bucks. And went all the way down to fucking $24. And now it's back up 27 bucks. And looks like it might be trying to retest the former high, which is 28 bucks. So let's see, let's do the math real quick. Wrap my fucking phone. Let's do the math real quick. 100 shares. How much is 100 shares gonna cost me? Fucking fat boy. Alright, Alright, so 100 shares times what? 2760. We'll say 28 equals $2,800. So to get 100 shares, it's gonna cost me $2,800. All right. To make $1, but there's a lot of risk, man. Like, no, I would probably risk what, $26. That's a lot of risk. That's $200. It's $200 I'm risking. No, it's $100. No, it's like less than $100. Like this, my risk would be at $26.89. Would be my risk. So almost $100. So I'm risking $100 to make $100, or it could probably break out, but who knows? This stock went from, the stock's a runner too. Goes from 24. It went from $24 Friday, $24.35 to $27.60. So 24 to 27, 25, 26, 27. That's $3, man. That's a $300 move for me on 100 shares. If I would have caught the bottom. So I don't know. We'll keep that on there. We'll watch that. We'll see how that goes. So we'll watch FSCT. Frank, Sam, Charlie, Tango. We'll watch that. Watch and see what that stock does tomorrow. Alright, I think that's it, man. Let me see what else we got. Yeah, that's it. That is it. Yeah. Yep, that's it. Friday wasn't so good, man. If you guys are watching the stocks on Friday, like I was having some issues with some of the stock that I was running with. GLBS. I got fucked on that stock. You know, it was a former supernova, and meaning it run like a motherfucker, right? Well, it didn't run for me the other day. It didn't run for me the other day. GLBS. I ended up taking like a $300 loss on that stock between two accounts. Like one account was like $200, and another account was like $100. But yeah, man, and it got news the previous day, and then it cranked up and went up like 40%. So when the stock does that, I'm interested. You know what I'm saying? Moves after, you know, after hours, it goes up fucking 47%. You know, on news, shit, I'm interested. I'm gonna be all over that bitch, and it's a form of supernova, right? So I got in, and actually when I got in, I was up. I made like fucking, I think I was up like $200. So I was doing good, but that was my fault for not taking profits and not getting out. But now I know, like I really need to tighten up. But I'm just greedy, and I like to swing for home runs. I want to make, you know, 3-4 times my money. You know what I mean? When I put in these trades, and I can't be like that with a small account. And that's why I'm losing so much money. But yeah, I just need to take my little 30 cents, 20 cents, and get the fuck up out of there. And stop being greedy. So I was up a couple times. Both times I put in my positions, on two different positions, on the same stock, GLBS, I was in the green. And then when the market opened, even after the market opened, I was still in the green. And then it started to fade against me when it couldn't break out over the $2 mark. And it was a couple in a few hour period, and so I had plenty of time to get out of the stock, but I was just like giving it more time. That's another thing that I need to be a little bit more faster. Watch these motherfuckers not break out. It goes against me, and it crashed on me. And I'm down like fucking almost, you know, and I'm down like 30 cents a share. You know, I got 1,000 shares on one fucking position. I was down like 20 cents a share. So I was down like $200 on that position, and the other position I had like 500. So I was down like 100 and some change on that one. So I'm just like, you need to be a little bit more quick with the trigger, man. You need a bit more quicker with the fucking trigger. But that's why That's why I can't wait to get the training, the one-on-one training with Timothy Sykes, because I'm gonna show. He's gonna see all my trades. He's gonna see all the thousands of dollars. I shouldn't say all. This motherfucker's losing 100, 500, $600,000. So my little account ain't shit, but it's a lot for somebody that got a small account. You know what I mean? But you know, if I get the one-on-one trading with him, where he's right above me, seeing my trades, and he sees all my losses in the past year, you know, I'm gonna be like, look, man, what am I doing wrong? You know, and if you got somebody over you, you know, that you respect and he's your mentor, you're gonna listen what the fuck he's saying, and you know that's what I need. It's like $2,500 a day or some shit like that, or $2,500. I think it's like $2,500 for the day to get one-on-one training with Timothy Sykes. So I'm gonna do that probably sometime next year. But that'll be good, man. Me and my brother, we're going. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man, for the watch list, man. You know, I'm not gonna be talking too much on this shit. But yeah, that's it for the watch list. Let's see what your comments says. I'll read your comments. I'm gonna shut down, study some more. Yeah, that's the shit I need to do. That's what like I said, Philip, that's what I need to do. I need to be quick with that trigger. Yeah, hell yeah, it's worth it. Yeah, of course. You know, I'm getting one-on-one coaching by the teacher himself. You know? So yeah, definitely worth it. Yeah, I looked at GBLR. I seen it last week. No. With the sandbox, we use the sandbox trailers. You know, the ones that you really see on sandbox. See, I'm hauling directly with sandbox. So they have their own setup trailers. So those are the trailers, not the fucking step deck. No, we're not using those. We're using those sandbox custom trailers that they have. You actually see sandbox use those. Just got one box, one trailer, gone. That's what I use. Yeah, he is. Timothy is great. He got a lot of haters though, man. But you know what? When you're doing something right, you're gonna have haters regardless. You know what I'm saying? So, fuck those haters, man. I don't pay attention to motherfuckers. You know? No, that's good, man. Good job. Good job, Philip. If you guys want, man, you can hang out, but I'm not gonna be talking much, man. I'm gonna be watching these video lessons. So if you want to hang out and listen, you can hang out and listen. But if not, I'll see y'all tomorrow, man. But y'all gotta study. Study time for me. Eat your shit. You got shit all over the bed. Shit right here. You got shit all over the bed. Little pig. Angel's a little pig, man. Angel's a little pig. Well, listen. I got these video lessons you can listen to while I study. All right. Whew. All right.
Then the downtrend, then the bounce. That's RTNB. Spike, downtrend, bounce.
Oh my goodness.
It's pretty cool when these stocks are all moving in sympathy. Totally different companies, but the same kinds of patterns apply with penny stocks. That's kind of the beauty of this. And then also this morning, I'm not even going to go crazy with, how many people in the chat are banking. But I love this. This was G Cannon in MTBC at 275 out at 495, made 2200. Well, I think that might be. Was that the one who posted later? No, Jesus made 2600. I don't know. There's so many of you guys to congratulate. Long story short, you're trying to capture some of the volatility. Don't feel bad if the stock goes further than you thought it would. You're trying to take as much as you can. RGSE, I was just glad to make I made like roughly 30 cents a share. But on the short side, that, there was only like 50 cents a share to be made. I guess if you caught the exact top, there was like nearly $1 a share. But it's tough to catch the exact bottom and the exact top and the exact bottom of the move. So this is roughly $1 a share, but it's quick and that's tough. I was happy to make 30 cents a share, especially because I was wrong about how people would react to this news. But props to some of you guys who like dip buying. Guess what? Same kind of thing where you have this big spike and then you have a dip, and you could have bought this dip just like STRN or RTNB. Dip buying is kind of my favorite thing right now. And that's why I wanted to get to ICEA. So this one, even though it's not that liquid, it's still one of the biggest winners over the past few days. So it's very interesting to me. It's been in this range, and I've traded it like a dozen times. I'm sorry I keep trading it, but this, I thought that it was going to be due for a big morning panic today. I was short overnight, didn't get the big panic. I made like another 20 cents a share. I probably have 7 or 8 trades now of just shorts where I make like 20 cents a share, either overnight or inside of an hour. This theoretically should collapse. This stock is up from the 1s, again, to the 6s or the 7s, like all these other stocks. But unlike the other ones, this has no real, positive news. It's purely a pump. Where they've hyped themselves up as this AI play, but they're totally full of shit. Maybe they're related. Maybe they have a conference call with RGSE, like, hey, bro, you gonna be totally full of shit this week? Yeah, me too. Cool. Let's do it. It's the right market. I don't know. But this one should collapse, and yet it's not, because they keep putting out more and more press releases. Today they put out a tweet saying that they're going to have an analyst update. They're going to update all their numbers on October 10th. So as I film this, today is October 4th. So they specifically are issuing a date in the future, trying to hype themselves up. And guess what they're going to say? If you put out a random, guidance and analysts, and you're telling them, you're going to say, oh, look, we're fucking amazing. So you can expect them to be cheerleaders. And that said, because we know that they're going to be cheerleaders for themselves on October 10th, it's probably going to rise in anticipation of October 10th. The problem is it's also already risen a ton, and the more press releases they put out that say absolutely nothing, the more people realize they're full of shit. So it hasn't even really been able to bounce. So this is actually a very interesting case where the longer term chart and logic tells me that this should collapse. They also only have like $4 million in cash in the bank, and they're losing $2.5 million per quarter. So they're going to be out of business in 6 months unless they raise more money. So most likely they're doing this to keep the stock afloat so that they can do some kind of financing deal, likely, in the 4s or the 3s. And that way you get the stock up, you do the financing at a discount, the company raises money. Anybody who, chases or buys or doesn't know how the game works loses their ass. And short sellers bank as this stock collapses. But the interesting thing is that if they cannot get the financing done, or depending on how long it takes, because I guarantee you they're working out a financing, they will try to pump their stock up every single day. And there were a lot of fake buyers all day the past 2 days where, they put in big bids and they pretend that, this stock looks amazing. Pre-market, this thing was actually up. And then right near the market open, it collapsed because all of those big buy orders that you saw on the bid were fake. So it'll be interesting to see if they put out a press release and if they can bounce above this top level that I had problems with twice today at 620. It already put in a solid support here at 565 and 570. I covered pretty nicely right here near the market open on my overnight short at 575 from just under 6 I was short. So right now it's mid-range. Can it break 620? It's 30 cents away. Can it break this key level of 560? Is 30 cents away. So it was kind of impressive that it didn't drop more today, but it also was not that impressive that it couldn't bounce. Also, you have to consider its main sympathy play, HMNY, is fading a little bit more and more. You're getting these late day collapses. One of these days, HMNY is just going to completely collapse, like $2, $3, $4 a share, and that's going to be bad for IZEA. So IZEA, it's a battle of, can the company pump themselves up with more meaningless bullshit press releases and tweets about anticipation of press releases, enough times to actually squeeze shorts, because shorts can only hold the short for so long. There might be some buy-ins. And if this thing breaks above 620, I might even rebuy it, because then it could squeeze. But if it does break below 560, we should see a collapse. And it might not even take a financing to do that. It might just be because HMNY is collapsing, or this one, the bounce will just fail. So I have no position right now in any of these stocks. In case you think I'm biased, I'm just trying to give you the best take on all of these, because frankly I want you as prepared as possible. And it's not enough to just pick good companies. It's not good enough to just see breaking news. You have to think about a few different variables. And I know it might be confusing and overwhelming for you guys in the beginning, but it's really not that crazy. There's only a set number of variables. If you watch my trader checklist guide, if you watch my How to Make Millions guide, this is it. And by the way, thank you to everybody who got my How to Make Millions guide. If you go to howtomakemillions.com, we just passed $3 million in charity donations, because that guide took me several months to complete, but it is entirely for charity. So I'm going to do a blog post probably this weekend talking about how we just passed 3 million, and that's awesome. So I have several DVDs that I'm working. All of those are going to go to charity, because I want to build 1,000 schools, and I like you guys learning from these guides and really understanding these patterns. So IZEA, watch it for potential long if we have the right catalyst and the right price action, or a potential short if there is no catalyst and it starts looking like it's going to crack 560, or if HMNY starts cracking. Still watch STRM, still watch ECYT, still watch CLSN, still watch MTBC, and these are my main watches. All of these stocks are trading, millions of shares. RGSE traded 53 million shares. CLSN traded 32 million shares in a day. MTBC traded 29 million shares. ECYT traded 18 million shares. And STRM traded, nearly 5 million, but that was pretty much all in the last hour of the day. So if the news had come near the market open, this thing would have traded 20, 30 million shares on the day too. So it is a hot market for longs and shorts. You have several plays. There's probably going to be some new plays that pop up too. But just really try to test out your theories. Try different patterns. We all have different preferences. We all have different personalities. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. So even if you're not trading, just write down on paper like a potential trade and see how it does. And do that every single day. And start testing your theses and seeing, which angles you're better at. Are you better at longs? Are you better at shorts? For me, I have figured out that I am good at really dip buying stocks in the $2 a share range. and STRM was a good example of that today. RGSE, you know, I thought that it was a good short. It was for, you know, what, dropped for like 30, 45 minutes. But I was wrong overall. And so I used that knowledge to say, wait a minute, the market is telling me that logic and valuation doesn't really matter right now. So you have to be extra careful shorting. And I know some of you guys don't like shorting. It's good to learn how short sellers think. The reason why stocks like CLSN spike so much is not because they're a good company. It's because early shorts were squeezed. So study short selling. Learn how short sellers think. Even if you're a buyer. You know, some of these most fundamentally flawed companies like CLSN become the biggest spikers when too many shorts get squeezed too early on. So anyways, this is my take on several hot stocks. Get in my chat room before the market open, when, you know, after I post this, because I'm not just giving alerts, I'm giving commentary. You know, Stephen Dux, Roland, Tim Grattani, Mark Crook, Michael Good, all my top students are in there. And they're talking about their trades and what they see too. So you just got to be prepared. And hopefully this video has helped explain that a little bit. Congrats to all of you guys who are tweeting me. Hey Zeus, I'm sorry if I missed you. You know, I got to get some sleep. Crazy times. You guys get some rest too, because the next few days are going to be insane for longs and shorts. Thank you.
190, where you at? Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, I am filming this on Tuesday evening, I guess Eastern time. I'm all over the place. I don't even know what time zone I'm in anymore. But I'm going to be in Miami all day Wednesday and Thursday, just teaching a few people in person. So I want to get this pattern out there, which is the #1 pattern right now, specifically for small accounts. You know, I know a lot of you guys can't short sell because you have small accounts, or, you know, short selling is scary. So that's okay. Small accounts have been killing it lately. And I really want to highlight this because we don't get this hot of a market very often. So if you understand what I'm talking about by the end of this video, say, and then leave a comment saying, I understand. That's my whole goal here. And don't lie to me, you know. If you don't understand, let me know. But if you do understand, leave a comment saying, I understand. So MTBC is a great example where at 3:30 in the afternoon, roughly, they announced some contracts, and the thing just skyrocketed from 160 now after hours, you know, all the way up to the 380s. How do you find this? If you are looking at big percent winners, this pops up right in here. I think Tim Bowen, who gives, you know, live webinars for Stocks to Trade Pro people, you know, he was, I think he alerted this in the low twos, like at 208. It popped up on the big percent winners and the high of the day scanner. You're always looking for high of the day, or you should be, especially towards the close. You don't have to look, you know, midday. Most stocks don't do anything midday, although I'll get to a stock that it did pretty well today too. MTBC popped up on my radar. You can see here, for me, it's not just about alerts. I post commentary all throughout the day. Sometimes I'm going to be right, sometimes I'm going to be wrong. But this was really kind of crazy. Like today was just insane. Again, I'm filming this on a Tuesday, so that's why it might be confusing when you're watching this on a Wednesday. I said now MTBC spiking big. Aye, fire at will. There are so many stocks right now. CLSN. I like this. Sometimes I share your messages. GUA Millionaire. He said, thanks for all that you do. Made 37% on CLSN. Green, 4 out of the 5 last trades. Getting better at recognizing the right patterns and playing them better. So, the pattern that we're talking about here is simply buying the high of the day breakout when it's a percent winner on big volume. And MTBC is not just some random stock. You know, it's gone supernova in the past. So even here, when this spike failed, it still had 2 green days. So every single one of you should have been looking at this, and I know a lot of you guys did. Congrats. CLSN never really had a solid spike until today. This is the kind of market that we're in. And, you know, again, I don't like just trying to
you, girl. Damn pants.
Take her little ass out real quick. She's next to the bathroom, man. Come on, come here. Come on. There we go. Gotta get a new tripod, man. This tripod ain't about shit. Damn, you gonna make a product, motherfucker. Make sure that bitch work. Fucking thing and just be collapsing and shit don't even wanna work no more. Like, damn, man, most of the shit you buy ain't about shit. You know, when you buy something, you expect that shit just to last. Well, shit don't last, man. It's like you waste money on these motherfucking companies. That shit's bullshit. You buy a product, you expect that motherfucker to last, right? Well, shit only lasts for a few months. So then you gotta buy another one. Fuck that. It's fucking tired. Make a fucking product that can last, man. That's why all these companies go out of business, because their product ain't about shit. Product don't last, man. 95% of companies fucking fail. Or 85% of companies fail. Small businesses. That's why. Look at that little tripod. Fucking tripod doesn't even want to fucking, hold. It collapses. Like, come on, man.
Hold. I know that many of you guys do. That's a low odds setup. Most of the stocks are not going to go up 350%. And again, this is setting a bad example. But I got to give props to a few of you guys. Sniper Trades made money. Kevin is recognizing the patterns. Omar got in the low fives, out in the high fives. Weller Trade made money. Dan Irish nailed MTBC. I like this.
Oh, I bought the new iPhone X or iPhone 10, whatever you want to call it. iPhone X, so it'll be here Tuesday. I'll do a review on it. That'll be good. Got it coming. It's okay. What are you asking me? He says, what website do I go to download XNET deal? What are you talking about? I don't understand what you're asking.
In at 197, out at 267, 36% in under an hour. Sal made 1,200 on the day, freaking awesome, crossing 38,000 now. CLSN and ECYT were his place. ECYT. ECYT, I underestimated. Okay, I was like, do not hold this overnight. Then it goes up another 60%. So if you ever doubt me, that's fine. I'm gonna, err on the side of caution. If you ever wonder what is Tim Sykes thinking, I'm gonna say safety first. I will not chase a stock up this much. But this is the pattern that's really working. And again, I don't want you just buying any random stock and just holding, thinking that it might go from 1 to the 6s in 2 days. This is not normal. This is not a high odds setup. What is a high odds setup is if you buy the high of the day breakout, okay? MTBC, we had a high of the day breakout. We had news. It was heading into the close. I coulda, woulda, shoulda bought. At least I alerted. I'm glad several of you guys did. On ECYT, okay, so this one has positive news, and it pretty much breaks the pre-market highs right near the open, and it just keeps going. But it's tough to just buy like right at the open. Sometimes you just get smacked down. So if you want to wait until the afternoon, it's not as quick, but it's far safer. And this is a nice high of the day breakout right in here into the close again on ECYT. So look for those morning spikes and look for the afternoon. I mean, from basically 11 a.m. until 3 p.m., this stock did not budge that much. And the same thing today. I mean, you had like a morning spike and then not much all the rest of the day. So if you really want to say, okay, this is awesome, 1 to the 6s, there's 2 time periods to look at. Morning spike, or afternoon spike. And now this thing is just overextended. CLSN, I don't know how high it goes, but right here from the get-go, I mean, it spiked up at like 9 a.m. The high was 2. When it breaks 2, right near the market open, you got to be buying that high of the day breakout in this market. Or better yet, this was a midday breakout, which again, I'm not a fan of. I've been over trading a little bit too much, so this was kind of tough for me to catch. I don't mind missing plays when they don't fit, my patterns to a T, or the right timing. But at the same time, it would be stupid of me to ignore high of the day breakouts right now in these biotechs. CLSM was a great example here. I tried RTTR. This was my little attempt. It was already spiking from 36 to like 39. It actually had already hit 41 when I bought it. I bought it on a little bit of a dip at 39. It didn't do much. So sometimes, you know, they actually had a press release later about their new patent, and it just doesn't work. So don't feel like every time it's going to work. The good news is, if it doesn't keep spiking, if it doesn't keep making new highs, you simply cut losses quickly, or you take profits quickly. ANTH is another one. Breakout. Okay, you can see here at around 11.20, the high was $1.80. Look at this breakout. This is, you know, again, overextended, so this breakout was only a little bit. But this is what you should be looking for. KOOL, for example. You can see here, it looks like it's just one big spike. It's not. It actually spiked up here at the open, went to 490, came down to 430. Then you have a breakout, okay, at 490. Buy the high of the day breakout. Don't just buy random spikes. This is tough. Although, you know, you could make the argument that, you know, right near the market open, it broke the pre-market high at 470. But sometimes you need to wait for a really confirmed breakout, a confirmation. And this was a stronger breakout here at around 950. I've been dealing with IZEA pretty much because I'm obsessed, because I think this thing is overvalued and I think it's going to crash. I know it's tough to find shares for short. Interactive Brokers has had some. My high net worth broker has had some.
You're killing me, bro.
This will be a good dip buy if it crashes enough. Now, I don't want to be dip buying this. I actually did dip buy it today. I don't want to be dip buying it unless there's a big enough intraday crash that opens up some opportunity. I was shorting it several times. I missed. I'm really disgusted with myself how I missed the meat of the move. I took like 10, 20, 30 cents a share a few times on the short. And meanwhile, you know, the thing is dropping over $1 a share. So I'll do a video lesson on that, you know, when I have more time. But right now, the point is that I am short this stock overnight because I think this is going to collapse. A lot of people on my challenge webinar today say, Tim, why were you shorting this one? Shorting is scary. This thing is so overvalued. They've been putting out press releases every single day. The press release today was an absolute joke. They said that it's an update on the strategic review, although they said nothing if you read this press release. They say that we're continuing to work, and they say nothing. They just put out press release to try to maintain this pump, even as insiders have been selling. So I think this collapses. Why not just short it at the open, you might say? Well, because this stock is under the SSR. Short sale restriction, which means you can only short it into an uptick. If the thing is in free fall, you're not going to get executed. So I have to risk probably the fact that they're going to have some kind of bullshit press release pre-market or near the market open to try to squeeze shorts. Or maybe they'll just give in to the inevitable. But because it closed at its low, because this is such a nice stair-stepper down, because it cracked support, you know, in the 630s, it actually cracked it nicely and then bounced. And then, you know, former support has now become resistance at 630, 640. And the fact that it's under the SSR, I'm short overnight. So most likely I'm going to clean up tomorrow on my short. You know, ideally this thing can drop $1. But if this thing drops $1, it also can be a good potential dip buy. You can see here it dropped from 8.2 to 6.4 very quickly the other day. And then look at it. It bounced $1.40. And you got another sharp drop of $1 a share. And then it bounces $1 a share. So don't be afraid to dip buy. I know I said that this was probably just going to be one pattern to buy or one pattern to trade, but there's so many plays right now. Just to summarize, IZEA I think will collapse. I think this is going to be a great short. I could be wrong. Maybe it holds support at 550 or 560 and I only make 30 or 40 cents a share. Maybe they put out a solid press release for once and they squeeze me. But in all likelihood, back testing, given the stock, given the fading volume, given how much it's up, given what I know about the company, this thing most likely does a morning panic. And if it does that morning panic, do not be surprised if I collect my 75 cents to $1 a share of downside and maybe even try to dip buy. You know, it probably should have support here going back to the last spike here at 4. So if it can drop $1.80, I would love to make I don't think I'm going to make $1.80. I'd probably cover for $1 a share. But if it drops $1.80, you can be damn sure that I would be dip buying this thing at 4 for a bounce, ideally back to 4.5 or maybe even 5. That said, if it just drops on bad news, then it is not a dip buy. You have to look at how it's dipping. Why is it dipping? If they get some really negative news or they do a toxic financing, which is likely or possible, then it deserves to go down. But if it's just down due to stop losses, then it can bounce. So I know it's complicated for you guys who are newbies. If you want to just make it easy, CLSN, okay? Buy the high of the day breakouts. That's it. HOD. You might see people in the chat room saying HOD. That means high of day. So it had a nice high of day breakout here. It had a decent high of day breakout here. I would never, ever chase a stock up 351% on a day, let alone 250%, let alone 150%. Very rarely will I even chase a stock up 50%. So I don't mind missing this because it doesn't fit with my patterns. It doesn't fit with my risk tolerance. But by all means, it's fantastic for a lot of you guys, where it does. Sal, for example, there's so many of you. I'm just going through Twitter. I'm sorry I'm going to miss a lot of you. Lee made $2,000, in at 2, out at 377 and 360. Found it on Stocks to Trade. Chris banked on CYTR, which is another little sketchy biotech. Here's Sal's other trade. This guy made $100 and now he's giving me the look on ECYT. I love this. This is a great trade that I wanted to highlight. The username is BLBLineW333. And you can see here, he was buying a bunch of stocks, but his best trade was CLSN, bought it at 243, out at 462 in roughly 3 hours, 2.5 hours. So everybody who hates on penny stocks, you guys are just wrong because they are so hot. Here's ECYT. Michael banked on CLSN. Mo made money on CLSN. Caesar made money on CLSN. Kyle made money on ECYT. Jeffrey made 37%. Also, some of you guys are messaging me like, I only made 20%. I only made 30%. Don't feel bad if you hit a single. Again, 37%, 20%. Those are good gains. Don't feel like you have to make 100, 200, 300%. No one trade matters. Get in the habit of taking singles over and over and over again. I guess there are more, but I can't even keep up. Oh, look at this. Here's Ryan, ECYT in the 2s, out in the 6s. But I like this. Just one good trade gives the motivation to cut losses fast on the bad ones. And that's what it comes down to. You can be wrong a lot of the time, but if you ride some of these just once, makes up for a lot of bad trades. Here's Dan on CLSN, made some money. Jahan, second day trading, and he earned his largest profit yet. I think he made 1,000 if it's the same student that I'm thinking of. Anyway, here's Sal. Just look for big percent winners and look for the high of the day breakout. And if you see a stock that's down in a morning panic, that's too much due to stop losses, potentially dip buy it. So I want to prepare you for my potential cover into a panic on IZEA and potential dip buy. And the same thing for HMNY, which, has these morning panics and then they can come back. So don't be afraid to try different patterns. If you want to just, kind of experiment, use paper trading on Stocks to Trade or use small positions. You don't have to go big. You don't have to, scare yourself with so much money. Also, PTOTF is another one I'm watching. I thought about buying this. They have a technology that can, search for guns, which obviously is relevant in the wake of Vegas. But it's a foreign company. It trades in different countries. So it's tough to buy a stock overnight when you know it's going to trade in a foreign country. And, again, this stock doesn't really have a great history of holding its spikes. So I'm not going to chase it, but I'm watching it. I'm going to go do my watch list right now. So much going on. Everybody who's coming to Miami, I look forward to teaching you. We got a crazy 2 days.
I think there's a couple decent lessons there. But as for the month of September, it was my best month yet to date. Culminating Friday, I made about $13,000 or so, putting me at somewhere around $70,000 for last month, which is mind-blowing. But things are heating up, and after a slow August, the markets are really strong right now. There's been some really strong moves with HMNY, IZEA, ITUS, and the list goes on and on from last month. So it's a really good opportunity to make some good profits right now in the markets, and hopefully the good times will continue. It could all change tomorrow, but we'll see what happens tomorrow when we get into the market open. So anyways, the trade I wanted to get into from last week was AMMA, and like I said, it was a decent intraday. Long setup wasn't perfect, but I'll get into the chart for you, and we'll see what you can take from it. So here's the daily chart for AMMA, and forgive me, my baby's crying in the background, and she'll be fine. It's kind of difficult to squeeze these in sometimes with the children, but anyways, here's AMMA. This is the entire chart history, actually, because it only started trading back in October of last year. And you can see here it got as high as 550, and since then it's been fading on super low volume. You can see here it's very thinly traded, very liquid, and the most volume it had done up until this last week was about 900,000 back in July. But other than that, nothing. This was the day I was trading, this big green candle here, and you can see it did 9 million in volume, which completely eclipsed anything it had done in the past. And the reason for that was they had announced pre-market on Thursday that they acquired Victory Fighting Championship, which is another MMA company, and obviously the stock reacted quite favorably. It went from about 135 to just over 3 at its highest point. So really nice move. And let's get into the minute chart so we can kind of get a better picture. So here's the minute chart, and you can see they released news pre-market, and it created this nice big morning spike from the 130s to 215. And I actually lost a little bit on this move trying to dip by, well, not dip by, but by this first pullback here. And I don't chase morning spikes. And in general, especially lately, I haven't been trading in the first 5 or 10 minutes of the day. I like to see things settle down a little bit because the first 5 minutes are so volatile. You have the open orders from the day before. You have a bunch of people eager to jump in. So it's a little unpredictable. And you can see it spiked to 215. I tried buying here at 180 after it pulled back to 173. That's a strategy I will use. I will try to buy the first pullback sometimes, because a lot of times you'll see a pullback and then you'll see it rip through that initial high and keep on going. Sorry, 1 second, I gotta take a break and grab my baby girl. Sorry about that. Anyways, so I tried buying this pullback at 180, and I was risking off 173, which was the low of the pullback. And that's one of the reasons I like buying pullbacks as opposed to chasing these morning spikes, is it gives me better risk reward, and it gives me at least a defined risk reward, because if I'm chasing this spike, I don't know where I'm going to be risking off of. There's no major support level, especially on a chart that's fairly new and that has done no major volume in the past. And so I got in at 180. I only grabbed 2,000 shares, and we did get it up to 2, but it got stuffed there, and I ended up cutting when it broke down below 173 because that was my risk, and it ended up only getting down to 163. And at this point I put it on the back burner. I wasn't sure if this was the for real bottom. It could have easily tried again, failed, and then just faded all day. And this midday volume after this next attempt up here, which happened to bottom out at 170, so it did make a higher low. But after this higher low, the volume faded, and And most of the time when you see this fading volume and a spike like this that was up over 100% on the day, and a pullback that's pretty drastic, followed by fading volume, most of the time you'll see it kind of fade off. In this case, on the 1 minute chart, it's kind of hard to get a grip on the price action here and what's going on, because the volume was so low. You know, there are a bunch of candles on the 1 minute chart that literally had no volume whatsoever, maybe a couple hundred shares or something like that. But I ended up taking a position, 5,000 shares, a pretty moderate position, at 177 on this candle here. And once we get into midday, and particularly when there's a chart like this with fading volume, I like to put the 5 minute chart up as well, which I do into the afternoons. And if it's a multi-day run, I will throw up maybe the 15 minute chart or the 30 minute chart to get a sense of the entire move, and if it's the front side or back side. So on the 5 minute chart, it's much more clear, at least it was for me when I was watching at the time. And you can see that this is the exact same time frame. These 5 minutes right here is this 5 minute candle here. And on the 5 minute chart, what I saw was ramping action. It was actually low volume, but it was actually ramping upwards towards this resistance point in the low 180s or so. And so it was forming a wedge, and then it perked through the wedge pretty hard here. Not on huge volume, but there was a perk in volume as well. And this is where I grabbed my shares. We had this perk here, and I got in at 177, like I said. And then pretty immediately, I think 5 minutes later, we got this move. And it broke right through the initial high from the morning spike, and was just a really solid move. And my thesis was correct almost immediately, which I love. I hate having a thesis, getting in a trade, and then waiting and waiting. But this perk in volume here was kind of an indicator, and this perk you can see on the 5 minute chart was an indicator that a move was coming. And that's how I got in at 177, as opposed to, you know, getting in when it broke high a day at 215 or later even. I mean, there are a lot of people chasing this move up. But it's clear when you look at the 5 minute chart, you see this big tail. The real resistance to me was actually 180. And so when it perked through that and then dropped on this candle, I was able to get in at 177. I didn't take a huge position, only because it was already up almost 100% on the day, but I got a decent size. And I actually wasn't even tempted to sell. I sold a little into this candle here, approaching 250, only because I thought maybe 250 would be a little bit of resistance. Broke high a day at 250. And once we get into midday, and particularly when there's a chart like this with fading volume, I like to put the 5 minute chart up as well, which I do into the afternoons. And if it's a multi-day run, I will throw up maybe the 15 minute chart or the 30 minute chart to get a sense of the entire move, and if it's the front side or back side. So on the 5 minute chart, it's much more clear, at least it was for me when I was watching at the time. And you can see that this is the exact same time frame. These 5 minutes right here is this 5 minute candle here. And on the 5 minute chart, what I saw was ramping action. It was actually low volume, but it was actually ramping upwards towards this resistance point in the low 180s or so. And so it was forming a wedge, and then it perked through the wedge pretty hard here. Not on huge volume, but there was a perk in volume as well. And this is where I grabbed my shares. We had this perk here, and I got in at 177, like I said. And then pretty immediately, I think 5 minutes later, we got this move. And it broke right through the initial high from the morning spike, and was just a really solid move. And my thesis was correct almost immediately, which I love. I hate I hate having a thesis, getting in a trade, and then waiting and waiting. But this perk and volume here was kind of an indicator, and this perk you can see on the 5-minute chart was an indicator that a move was coming, and that's how I got in at 177 as opposed to, you know, getting in when it broke high day at 215 or later even. I mean, there are a lot of people chasing this move up, but it's clear when you look at the 5-minute chart, you see this big tail. The real resistance to me was actually 180. And so when it perked through that and then dropped on this candle, I was able to get in at 177. I didn't take a huge position only because it was already up almost 100% on the day, but I got a decent size. And I actually wasn't even tempted to sell. I sold a little into this candle here, approaching 250, only because I thought maybe 250 would be a little bit of resistance, which it really wasn't. And then I sold most of my shares into this candle here up towards 3. And I just decided to lock gains in. I was left with 1,000 shares at this point. So now I'm thinking big picture. There's a bunch of stocks squeezing for multiple days. This is the first green day. There's a catalyst. Friday's coming up. And so I really wanted to maybe add to this position or just swing the rest of my 1,000 shares overnight and see if we can get some more in the morning. So that's how I was able to stay back. And this pullback, in retrospect, obviously, hindsight, I could have gotten rid of the rest at 3 again when 3 failed. But I decided to give it time. It pulled back here at about 1 to 250, and it made a higher low. So at this point, 250 was going to be my risk for the rest of my 1,000 shares, which it did break down below 250, and I ended up getting out. And I made about $3,000 on this trade between Interactive Brokers and Schwab. But it was a great trade, and this midday perk with some volume is a really good intraday long pattern. And I've been getting a lot of requests for intraday long patterns, so that's why I was getting into this trade as opposed to some of the others. But if any of you know Stephen Dykes, which I'm sure many of you do, he has a whole video on this pattern. I'll post a link above. And he calls it the intraday perk pattern. And you can call it whatever you want, but it is effective. And once again, that's why I think it's so important to look at different time frames when watching a stock, and if you're deciding that you're going to want to take a position or not. You definitely want to look at multiple time frames. It helps paint a better picture for you. There's always going to be someone else looking at a different time frame. There'll always be someone else at the time frame above you. You know, there are people who trade on the 1-minute, 2-minute charts. There are people who trade exclusively on 5-minute charts. There are 15-minute chart traders, 4-hour daily chart swing traders. I mean, everyone's looking at different time frames. So it's really important to know what other people are looking at. You'll see something different. And in this case, the 5-minute chart confirmed what I was seeing in level 2 and what my feeling was, this feeling I was getting about the move. And that combined with the catalyst, combined with the state of the market, with all the stocks running, these are all the things I take into consideration when I'm placing a trade, whether or not I'm conscious of it completely. I always try to kind of see what the big picture is in the markets, what the patterns that have been working lately are, and try to identify that early. If you can understand which patterns are moving early, then you exclusively on 5, many of you do. He has a whole video on this pattern. I'll post a higher low. So at this point, 250 position or approaching 250, only because I thought maybe 250 would be a little bit of resistance, which it really wasn't. And then I sold most of my shares into this candle here up towards 3. And I just decided to lock gains in. I was left with 1,000 shares at this point. So now I'm thinking big picture. There's a bunch of stocks squeezing for multiple days. This is the first green day. There's a catalyst. Friday's coming up. And so I really wanted to maybe add to this position or or just swing the rest of my 1,000 shares overnight and see if we can get some more in the morning. So that's how I was able to stay back. And this pullback, in retrospect, obviously, hindsight, I could have gotten rid of the rest at 3 again when 3 failed. But I decided to give it time. It pulled back here at about 1 to 250, and it made a higher low. So at this point, 250 was going to be my risk for the rest of my 1,000 shares, which it did break down below 250, and I ended up getting out. And I made about $3,000 on this trade between Interactive Brokers and Schwab. But it was a great trade, and this midday perk with some volume is a really good intraday long pattern. And I've been getting a lot of requests for intraday long patterns, so that's why I was getting into this trade as opposed to some of the others. But if any of you know Stephen Dux, which I'm sure many of you do, he has a whole video on this pattern. I'll post a link above. And he calls it the intraday perk pattern. And you can call it whatever you want, but it is effective. And once again, that's why I think it's so important to look at different time frames when watching a stock, and if you're deciding that you're going to want to take a position or not. You definitely want to look at multiple time frames. It helps paint a better picture for you. There's always going to be someone else looking at a different time frame. There'll always be someone else at the time frame above you. You know, there are people who trade on the 1 minute, 2 minute charts. There are people who trade exclusively on 5 minute charts. There are 15-minute chart traders, 4-hour daily chart swing traders. I mean, there's always going to be someone, but it is effective. With some volume, time, it pulled back here at, or just gains in. I was left with 1,000 shares at this point. So now I'm thinking big picture. There's a bunch of stocks squeezing for multiple days. This is the first green day. There's a catalyst. Friday's coming up. And so I really wanted to maybe add to this position or just swing the rest of my 1,000 shares overnight and see if we can get some more in the morning. So that's how I was able to stay back. And this pullback, in retrospect, obviously, hindsight, I could have gotten rid of the rest at 3 again when 3 failed. But I decided to give it time. It pulled back here at about 1 to 250, and it made a higher low. So at this point, 250 was going to be my risk for the rest of my 1,000 shares, which it did break down below 250, and I ended up getting out. And I made about $3,000 on this trade between Interactive Brokers and Schwab. But it was a great trade, and this midday perk with some volume is a really good intraday long pattern. And I've been getting a lot of requests for intraday long patterns, so that's why I was getting into this trade as opposed to some of the others. But if any of you know Stephen Dux, which I'm sure many of you do, he has a whole video on this pattern. I'll post a link above. And he calls it the intraday perk pattern. And you can call it whatever you want, but it is effective. And once again, that's why I think it's so important to look at different time frames when watching a stock, and if you're deciding that you're going to want to take a position or not. You definitely want to look at multiple time frames. It helps paint a better picture for you. There's always going to be someone else looking at a different time frame. There'll always be someone else at the time frame above you. You know, there are people who trade on the 1 minute, 2 minute charts. There are people who trade exclusively on 5 minute charts. There are 15-minute chart traders, 4-hour daily chart swing traders. I mean, everyone's looking at different time frames. So it's really important to know what other people are looking at. You'll see something different. And in this case, the 5 minute chart confirmed what I was seeing in level 2 and what my feeling was, this feeling I was getting about the move. And that, combined with the catalyst, combined with the state of the market, with all the stocks running, these are all the things I take into consideration when I'm placing a trade, whether or not I'm conscious of it completely. I always try to kind of see what the big picture is in the markets, what the patterns that have been working lately are, and try to identify that early. If you can understand which patterns are moving early, then you know what to look for. And a stock that moved spikes almost 100% in the morning, and then holds most of its gains, or at least a lot of its gains, and with these market conditions can certainly run. And this one proved it, beyond a shadow of a doubt. A huge move. So that's all I got for this one. I mean, pretty simple: spike, pullback, ramping action towards the resistance, perk through the resistance, and then I got in on a quick dip, and then it ripped. Locking in shares early so that I can be patient with the rest of my shares, selling off even more of my shares as it approached, and trying to identify that early. If you can understand which patterns are moving early, then you know what to look for. And a stock that moved spikes almost 100% in the morning, and then holds most of its gains, or at least a lot of its gains, and with these market conditions can certainly run. And this one proved it, beyond a shadow of a doubt. A huge move. So that's all I got for this one. I mean, pretty simple: spike, pullback, ramping action towards the resistance, perk through the resistance, and then I got in on a quick dip, and then it ripped. Locking in shares early so that I can be patient with the rest of my shares, selling off even more of my shares as it approached 3 in the morning, and then holds most of its gains, or at least a lot of its gains, and with these market conditions can certainly run. And this one proved it, beyond a shadow of a doubt. A huge move. So that's all I got for this one. I mean, pretty simple: spike, pullback, ramping action towards the resistance, perk through the resistance, and then I got in on a quick dip, and then it ripped. Locking in shares early so that I can be patient with the rest of my shares, selling off even more of my shares as it approached 3, that whole dollar mark, when the stock is already up 150, almost however much it's up on the day. And then setting a new risk at 250, and then sticking to the risk. And if you look at this chart, the next day it never got it back above 250 on Thursday, but you did get a good morning spot. Whether or not I'm conscious of it completely, I always try to kind of see what the big picture is in the markets, what the patterns that have been working lately are, and try to identify that early. If you can understand which patterns are moving early, then you know what to look for. And a stock that moved spikes almost 100% in the morning, and then holds most of its gains, or at least a lot of its gains, and with these market conditions can certainly run. And this one proved it, beyond a shadow of a doubt. A huge move. So that's all I got for this one. I mean, pretty simple: spike, pullback, ramping action towards the resistance, perk through the resistance, and then I got in on a quick dip, and then it ripped. Locking in shares early so that I can be patient with the rest of my shares, selling off even more of my shares as it approached 3, that whole dollar mark, when the stock is already up 150, almost however much it's up on the day. And then setting a new risk at 250, and then sticking to the risk. And if you look at this chart, the next day it never went back above 250 on Thursday, but you did get a good morning spike on Friday up towards 290, which got rejected. So I'll still be watching it Monday. There's always a possibility of a squeeze if things continue the way they are. But like I said, that's all I have for this one.
Hey, Tim Sykes here. It is the weekend. I hope you're having a good weekend, but I want you to be prepared for the coming week, because we have so many freaking hot stocks. They are up so much in the past few days. They move so quickly. You need to be prepared ahead of time. There's no other way to say it. This is a 10-day chart of HMNY from the 2s to the 13s. Okay, this was at my Orlando conference where I was a little long biased. I didn't buy it. I probably should have, but I was long biased because they announced 400,000 paying monthly customers for their wannabe Netflix in real life business model. Now, will it work? I don't know. But when you have a real business, that is a good sign, especially for a low price stock like this. And it overwhelmed all the negative financing and the sketchiness that this stock has. So I underestimated it, but I was on the right side. And a lot of you guys really need to get on the right side, because I know too many of you that just like to short sell any single stock that is up a ton. And you just like to say, hey, we should never buy penny stocks. We should never buy anything. And that is wrong. That is dead wrong, especially in this bull market. And if you have any questions about what these stocks can do, please watch this guide. It is called How to Make Millions. If you go to howtomakemillions.com, here's the URL. It's all for charity, howtomakemillions.com. We've now raised literally roughly $3 million with this one DVD. It is 35 hours long, and it basically talks all about how to find stocks like this, how to trade stocks like this. If you have not watched it, you don't understand this pattern. Okay, that is very clear to me, because so many of you are like, I've never seen anything like this, it can't happen. Yes, it can. And this isn't the first time, this isn't the last time. It's only a question, are you going to be prepared or not? On Friday, I was prepared on IZEA. Those of you who watched my pre-market video lesson that I released to subscribers only, guess what? I said, even though this stock on Thursday was, kind of fading volume and it looked like it was kind of going to fall off a cliff, it hadn't. And on Friday, if you know that Fridays are the #1 day for short squeezes, the #1 day for the most speculative morning spikes, that's exactly what we got. And, I didn't time it perfectly. I made a little over 1,000, but I nailed the buy in the mid-6s, did not hold for the mid-7s. I was actually traveling too, so that was kind of interesting. But Fridays can create short squeezes. And my second trade, I actually nailed this one, making nearly $2,000 on SRAX on the late day spike. It actually went all the way up to the 280s after hours. I was buying it in here when it was kind of coiling at 215. This was the first green day after 3 red days of consolidation. I did not expect it to get back to its highs and let alone make new highs. I underestimated this one too, but it's okay to underestimate, because on both of these I took solid profits. And that's what I want you guys to really get used to. Taking the meat of the move, taking singles. It's okay if the stock goes further. I'm very happy by making roughly $3,000 on Friday alone. I'm very proud of my student Roland, who made $14,000 on Friday alone. I mean, he's trading a whole bunch of stocks. His big win was ROKU, which was a recent IPO, which just kept going. And Roland was buying, the nice breakout here. I mean, 18 to 28 in one day. Again, there's a whole bunch of people out there who say, don't trade these speculative stocks, don't trade IPOs, and they're just missing out on opportunity. There is so much opportunity. So, IZEA, nice Friday short squeeze. Still not sure, how much more it can go, but the fact that it, consolidated for 3 days, even on fading volume, and now is looking like it can retest or maybe even break to new highs. They have a press event on Monday, tomorrow. So that is going to be make or break. My guess is, if you had to, guess right now, again, I have no position, so it doesn't matter. But if you put a gun to my head and say, which way is it going to go? I would say down, because it's up from the 2s to the 7s. This is not a good company. They have the press event. There's a very common pattern called buy the rumor, sell the news. This is in my Spikeability DVD. There are so many examples in the past where a company spikes in anticipation of news, and then when the news actually comes out, it's usually a letdown. And IZEA has been a letdown pretty much all its life as a company, and until now it's never really held its spikes. So my guess is that it will be a letdown, and this will be a great potential short. But they might try to sneak in some positivity. They might try to squeeze some short sellers before the inevitable crash. So, you know, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that this thing can go to the 8s or the 9s or the 10s before it eventually crashes. Later this week, this coming week, IZEA will drop 40-50%. You know, HMNY will drop, I don't know how much, but it'll probably drop 30%. ITUS did the same kind of thing already, and this one has come down. You know, went from the 1s. Remember, during my Orlando conference, I actually did buy this right here in the 130s. I didn't know it was going to go to the 530s, okay? You know, it took a while. This is a 10-day chart. But this one has crashed 50%. So IZEA, for me, is a potential short, but I don't know where the exact top is yet. We'll have to wait and see what the press says, and we'll have to see what the reaction is. Right when the press release comes out, I wouldn't be surprised to see a 50-cent to $1 a share drop. HMNY, you know, you have this nice last short squeeze from the 7s to the 13s. I mean, I know several chat rooms where the entire chat room is short because they just short stocks and they short big, and the higher it goes, the more they short. And it's the dumbest, most flawed strategy, and frankly, this is why so many short sellers blow up. If you short sell in the wrong way and you don't respect the risks, you will blow up. So no different than if you're driving my Ferrari 200 miles an hour in a 35 mile an hour zone. Guess what? You're not just driving a Ferrari, you're driving a Ferrari recklessly. So if you're trading these stocks and you're trying to short and you're trying to predict the top, you know, that's very reckless. And I don't want you to do that. That's why I'm talking about this. This will drop eventually. You know, I have no doubt of that. But as long as it's making new highs, as long as it's sucking in new shorts, fantastic. I don't know when they're going to put out another press release. They might have, you know, 500,000 or 600,000 or a million paying customers per month soon. So who knows? You just have to be careful trying to predict the top on these things. And that's frankly why I bought SRAX here. A lot of people say, hey, Tim, how did you know that it was going to be a big squeeze? I didn't. Okay, it was the first green day. I thought that it could just get to the 230s or 240s, and I thought that it would have resistance, you know, in here at 245, which acted as resistance here. I had no idea it was going to go to 280 all of a sudden. But they put out a press release saying that they have an upcoming Analyst Day on October 17th. So now this is an upcoming news play, and this thing can freaking move. So, you know, I'd be scared to short this stock on a Friday. I don't know how far it can go. I mean, you can see here in the long term, these stocks are all dead, okay? These are not good companies. But at the same time, you have to respect this kind of sector hype and this pattern. That's what it comes down to. So props to Roland for, you know, banking. I think he banked on SRAX too. He has another account. He has multiple accounts. But I got to give props to so many of you guys. AMMA, I haven't even talked about that. There's too many plays, it's overwhelming. This one was a great runner from $1.20 up to $3, and now it's a nice, you know, 30% drop. Lee Smith nailed that. Here's some of Roland's profits. Oh, NETE. Yeah. Too many plays. NETE has been spiking up, you know, 30 cents to $1. I mean, just show this video, show these charts to people who hate on penny stocks and say you should never buy them because they're just missing out. Roland's dad is a value investor, and at least, you know, Roland's dad, or maybe it's his father-in-law, somebody in his family is a value investor, and they were going back and forth about trading. Roland, by the way, has now turned, I'll show you his profit chart. Let's see, Roland Wolf. And his middle name really is Roland Wolf, which is kind of crazy. Is that his username? Yeah, Roland Wolf. So he's uploaded 262,000 in profits, but you know he's up. I think he's got a few more trades to upload. He's up to over 270,000. And mind you, he started in 2017 with, you know, hardly anything, and it's all been happening the past few months. And he's not right 100% of the time. Some of you guys are like, oh, he knows everything. He's right 65% of the time. He simply follows my rule number 1, where he cuts his losses quickly. So props to Roland. And by the way, he is studying 17 hours per day. I should post that video again that I filmed of him at the Orlando conference. And I was like, how much do you study, dude? And, you know, he's like, well, I sleep about 4 hours a night, and I spend about 3 hours with my family, so 24 minus 7, yeah, 17. I mean, that's what it takes, okay? If you want to turn a few $1,000s into 6 or 7 figures, my newest millionaire student, Stephen Ducks, same kind of thing. They're always studying charts, and they're always back testing, and they're looking at different patterns. And both of them, you know, love this guide, this How to Make Millions guide. So I'm so thankful that so many of you guys are watching this, because it shows off all these charts. These patterns are the exact. Freaking things. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Leave a comment if you understand this. Leave a comment saying, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. It's from the movie Zoolander, but that's really what this is, because these patterns keep coming about, and you know, you can't like trade them perfectly, like no two patterns are exactly alike, but you have a better idea of how far they can go once they start, you know, happening. And HMNY, I had no idea when I was long biased, you know, in the 3s that it could go to the 12s. But I have had an idea that, you know, when you have this kind of news and this kind of volume and this kind of price action, that it can go further than most people think. That's the big thing here. Too many people think, oh, it's going from 3 up to 9, and then you have the first red day here, they're like, it has to drop, it has to. It doesn't have to do shit, guys, okay? It can do whatever it wants. And I feel like I'm taking crazy pills when I see these patterns again and again and again. And it, again, you understand what I'm saying. Leave a comment underneath this video saying, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. And it's a good thing if you understand that. You know, it's a good thing to see this repetition. I know I repeat myself a lot, but I repeat myself so that you can see the repetition, so that you can see, oh, wait a minute, there's a little rhyme and reason to this. This isn't all random. Anyways, props to Roland. So many people to congratulate. Here's a few more. Roland. You can follow him, RolandWolf86 on Twitter. Sniper Trades, ITUS. These were just the past few days. I'm sorry, I'm falling behind. I can't keep up. But look at this. Some of you guys have a small account, and you know you're like, oh, I can't do anything with a small account. Look at this guy. Okay, 700 shares of ITUS at 293. Let's just do the math here, real quick. 14,000. That was Roland's profit, by the way, on Friday. I made roughly $3,000. 293 times 700 shares. $2,000 investment here, okay? And he sold literally the next day. This was 9/25 and 9/26, September 25th and September 26th, okay? And this is one day, so you're not even using the pattern day trader rule, and you know, profit of what, like 720 bucks on a $2,000 investment. So those of you with small accounts, guess what? It can work for you. Here's Sal, IZEA in at 655, out at 7, made 200 bucks. That's a good job. And I met Sal at the Orlando conference. He's a tiny little guy, but it was a funny picture. Okay, let me see if, I think he tweeted the picture of us. You see me crouching down. Oh, that's actually a good picture. Oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe I did crouch down. Anyway, Sal's a good guy. He's been studying hard. Here's Roland's screenshot. I love it. So he's trading a bunch of different stuff. Steven Johnson, I got to give him props. You know, I've ripped on him enough, but he had his first profitable month. Just a few $100, but, you know, it's a good turnaround. And AVGR, oh my God, this was another play. This one spiked up, and Steven Johnson has been shorting that one. Jonathan, AVGR made 10% on the long side. Eden made over another 1,000 on IMMP and ITUS. Stevie made 187. Where were the other people? Sorry, I had all these tweets planned. Gabe, in AMMA at $2 with 550 shares. Mind you, look at this. I just want to be crystal clear here. 550 shares times $2 a share. So he put in 1,100 bucks, and he has an $800 profit. Okay, that is freaking awesome. And also, you can see also, he did sell. Good. I'm glad he sold because that stock crashed. But ITUS, look at this. He's buying 300 shares at 344, and he's selling it the next day at 455. This is why I say these stocks are so great for small accounts. Okay. This was a day trade, but this was an overnight trade, and you're making 30% on your money. Let's just do the math, because some of you guys with small accounts don't believe that it's possible. 344 times 300. So he puts in 1,032. Then he sells it the next morning right at the open. Good job. Let's see. 1,365. So 1,365 minus 1,032. Here's how you make $333 before commission. So let's call it $300 after commission. Some of you guys also say, oh, I have such a small account, the commissions eat you up. It doesn't eat you up if you pick your trades carefully and you focus on volatile plays like ITUS and AMMA. And both of these stocks crash, by the way, so you can go long and you can go short on those. Caesar, you get a follow for this. I like this. HMNY, he's in at 1088. He's out for $1. He says, I don't know if it goes higher, but I took my profit. Videos are helping. Good, Caesar. Take those singles. It's okay to make $1 a share. It's okay to miss out on an extra $1 a share that you could have made. You're trying to learn the game. You're trying to get more comfortable. Brian, I give you a follow because I like this. ICEA in at 595, out at 714. He says, thank you for all the educational lessons. Christina, we need more female traders, so props to you. And you shorted ITUS from 430, covered at 350, too early, but didn't want to risk a bounce. That is not too early, Christina. You made your 20%, so props to you. Look at Christina's pictures. I don't know which one is Christina, but that's cool. Let's see here. Is it the same? That's her. And her boyfriend or friend is a shark. Anyways, that's awesome. Here's Dan earlier this week on AMMA, perfect symmetrical triangle, and he had the nice breakout. Dan made another 23% on HMNY. And SRAX, I mean, he made 18%. He actually held a little better. So I was in right around the same price as Dan, but I got out in the 240s, and I was happy. I was very happy on a Friday afternoon, and he got out at 254, and now after hours he got up to the 280s. So you're basically looking for these runners, and you're trying to hold, as long as possible, especially on a Friday afternoon when, they have some momentum. Here's Ed. I got to give props to Ed because he's been a student for a while, and, here he was on September 29th, two different accounts, and he made 793 in one and 430 in the other. And this was a tweet earlier that week, and he made another 1,200. So this was on September 29th, okay? You can see here the timestamp. And then this was earlier in the week on September 26th. So he had two $1,200 days. $2,400 a week is pretty freaking good. So, excuse me. Both of these, all of these are just staggering right now. And maybe when you're just beginning, it looks a little random, but trust me, please watch this guide. I'm begging you. It all goes to charity. You can hate me. You can say, oh, Tim just wants to make money. I don't make a dime off this guide. It took me literally 6 months, and I'm actually working on a few new DVDs, which also all will go to charity. They'll be finished in the next few weeks. I'm sorry for the delay, but please watch this guide. If you already have it, review it. This shows this kind of volatility, and you can see how stocks like HMNY, IZEA, SRAX, ITUS, AMMA, NETE, IMNP, AVGR, all of these plays have enough volatility where they start to fit certain patterns. You can go long, you can go short, you can go long, and you can go short. You can trade intraday, you can hold overnight. It's totally up to you. There are so many different angles off which you can profit. And I made roughly $5 grand last week. I missed so many angles. I'm trading from the other side of the world. I'm traveling all over the place. I'm busy, but I'm still finding my angles. And on a Friday afternoon, SRAX was beautiful. This probably can keep going. I wouldn't be surprised to see SRAX in the threes on Monday. But again, this coming week, with all these big movers already, I'm going to start getting a little more short biased. I hope IZEA puts out a good press release. I hope it goes as high as possible. As a short seller, I want these stocks to go up as much as it can, because then that'll give it more downside eventually. So just be careful this late in the pattern. We've had a lot of hot stocks, and if you miss them, maybe you're like, oh, I missed all this, now it's my time. Don't think that way, okay? Be safe. All of these stocks probably will crash 20, 30, 50% in the coming days, so beware of that. Don't just hold and hope. But when you see new momentum forming, like on plays like SRAX, don't be afraid to try to, take part of that momentum, like I did, with my Friday trades. And this was such a rush trade. I mean, I wish I could show you where I'm trading from these days. Just crazy. But I saw the opportunity on a Friday afternoon. That's my, I guess, go-to time period. I made my first $100,000 day buying a stock on a Friday afternoon and actually holding till Monday. On SRAX, I probably should have held till Monday, but I have a crazy travel schedule getting back to the U.S. This coming week, so I just wanted to de-stress. This is another thing that you guys need to learn. It's not just about making the most money. It's about having strategies and patterns and trading that fit your schedule. Trading does not have to be stressful. You should not be like waking up in a cold sweat in the middle of the night being like, oh my God, I got to trade today. Or like, any of that stuff. Wait for these plays to happen. Wait for the setups that you feel comfortable with. And in the meantime, study the past. Let me just show you something. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'll link this Sykes categories underneath this video. We have all these different categories on Profitly, okay? All these different basics, classics, trading mistakes, technology stocks, great trades. You can see 600 videos with morning spikes. You can see 500 plus videos with breakouts. A lot of you guys are asking me, how do you determine your dip buys and your panics? Well, watch these 400 plus video lessons, okay? I mean, between these, there's nearly 1,000 videos specifically on buying dips and panics. And none of this is an exact science, okay? All of this stuff is just me trying to, see these patterns play out again and again and again. So when I correctly nail SRAX on a Friday, this isn't my first Friday trade. As I said, I made my first $100,000 on, when I was a freshman in college on a Friday afternoon runner like this. I wish that SRAX didn't have an analyst day on October 17th. I mean, that's still over 2 weeks away. If it was like October 7th, I probably would have helped, because then it would have been, closer to the date with the upcoming hype and stuff like that. So I don't know how this is going to play out over the next 2 weeks in anticipation, but when they announce that, and the stock is consolidated nicely for 3 days, and you see that this thing has run up, and then you also know what kind of speculative market it is for this kind of sector right now, all of that adds up to a buy on a Friday afternoon, before it broke the day highs. A lot of you guys are like waiting for these day highs to break out on a Friday. You're waiting for other people to alert you. You can't do that. You need to be self-sufficient. You need to start thinking, wait a minute, Friday afternoon, short squeeze, okay. Upcoming, news hype play, okay. Good volume, okay. This is the right sector that's, really running right now, okay. So you start adding up all the indicators, and you need to formulate this stuff on your own. Like, that's why I'm so proud of students like, well, Ed is great, always, but Dan, Dan I think he might have bought before me. I don't know. It was right around the same time, but he saw what was happening. He saw that, like, look at this chart. This is a stocks to trade chart, which you all should be using. You can see here that we saw the same signal right in here, okay? We saw this thing getting close to the highs, and it was breaking out, and it just kept going. So you need to be self-sufficient in this game, and I'm proud of Dan. I'm proud of Ed. I'm proud of Christina. I'm proud of Brian. There's so many more of you, and I apologize if I didn't, call you out. I'm a little overwhelmed. I'm just going over a few tweets. Sniper Trades, Sal, Steven Johnson again. Props to him. Even though he just made a few $100s, that's a big, big thing when you're down a few thousand and you start learning the process. And Steven has been studying hard and working hard, so he deserves some props. But Roland, he is the student of the week. Now, what? I interviewed him in Italy. It was like July 4th weekend. So this is what? July to August, August to September, September. So 3 months later, right? All of July, all of August, all of September. 3 months. He was passing 133,000. Now he's at 270,000 in 3 months. So he's made 133,000 in the past 3 months. So let's just do this. Hold up. 137 to be exact. 137 divided by 3. So he's making $45,000 per month on average the last 3 months. And it's getting a little crazy. I mean, he made 14,000 on Friday alone. So when you start to think of the possibilities, considering that he started the year with just $4,000, he's not my millionaire student yet, okay? So I don't want you to be like, oh, he's a millionaire. But he's on the right track. And, if you follow me on Instagram, I posted a story where I'm messaging back and forth where he's still living humbly. He's paying himself a few $100s to live, but it's still new for him. And I love his attitude. I love his work ethic. And I want more of you guys, with $4,000 or $3,000 or $2,000 to really start grinding the way that he has. And then, it's amazing how quickly it can add up. And I know that it seems impossible. I know that it's like, oh, this only happens to other people. But, Tim Grittani, Michael Good, Mark Crooks, Stephen Ducks, now Roland Wolf. I mean, more and more of my students are on this track. And I'll tell you that while they're all different, they have one thing in common. They all studied their asses off, okay? It is not luck. It is, frankly, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And Roland has been studying 16, 17 hours per day. And I don't want you guys all to burn out, but I want to show you what it actually takes. If you want this, okay? Not everyone wants to put in that effort. No, not everybody can. And I get that. Some of you guys are busy. So do what you can. But I'll tell you that my most successful students are the ones who are studying the most. They're studying the past. They're not trading the most. Some of you guys have it wrong where you're like, Tim, I don't need to study the past. I'm just going to trade and learn in real time. You can trade a lot and you can trade a little. But studying the past helps you catch up because you are all playing a game of catch up where you have missed these patterns for years and decades. And that's why, I have all these video lessons. That's why I have this DVD guide. It's to help you catch up so that you are better prepared for every new trade, for every new pattern, okay? This is what's going on. SRAX was arguably the biggest Friday afternoon runner, and I absolutely nailed it, and I underestimated it, okay? 265, and now it's, got up to the 280s. So I took my 30 cent a share profit. There was another 40 cents a share so far. So don't think that even me, after 2 decades of experience, like I know everything, like I'm perfect. Because, frankly, I'm not. I'm on the right track a lot, but I sometimes sell too quickly. I sometimes cut my losses too quickly. But I want to show you the good and the bad. And, it's kind of cool that my trades are all transparent. So even with my mistakes and my losses, you can see here on the year now, I'm up $175,000. Just $1,000, $2,000, sometimes $3,000 in a day at a time. And sometimes I lose. But it adds up when you're on the right track, when you study. And part of the beauty of me being the teacher is that, I've studied, but I also learn when I make videos like this. Like, if I ever get off on my, patterns, if I get undisciplined, if I get away from what has made me successful, I go back and watch videos like this. You don't just have to watch a video lesson once, Sometimes you need that reminder to say, wait a minute, these are the patterns I should be trading. Plays like this. I see some of you guys saying, okay, these stocks are moving 200, 300, 4%, 400%, but let me trade a stock that's not budging. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? You have so many good plays right now. And we don't always have these good plays at any one time. So take advantage of them. HMNY, IZEA, SRAX, ITUS, and we'll see whatever else pops up this week. But I'm excited. I got to take this call, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Remember to leave a message underneath this video saying, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, if you recognize these patterns. Thank you. Hey, Tim Sykes here. It is the weekend. I hope you're having a good weekend, but I want you to be prepared for the coming week because Good morning, Tim Sykes here, and I just wanted to go over all these hot stocks right now. I'm getting a ton of questions, a ton of confusion. These aren't necessarily the easiest plays right now. We're kind of in this zone where it could go either way, and I want you to be aware of that. It's a Friday, and Friday is the single most dangerous day of the week to short sell. I've done several videos the past few weeks with Friday morning short squeezes, so I'm doing this pre-market because I wouldn't be surprised if IZEA does a Friday morning short squeeze. So what does that mean? Well, the question is, will it, retest these highs at 7, or will it crack these lows at like 570, 580? It's been in this holding zone for 3 days, and this is actually kind of impressive given the fact that it's up from the ones. They have a big, quote, big announcement coming next week. It's probably, just going to be nothing. It's going to blow over. This is not a good company. I want you to understand that, okay, first of all. So some of you guys messaging me like, look, it's holding near its highs. It's such a good company.